The scorecard, the boxing scorecard, where I ask people to bring your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion, although your opinion is still welcome. If you haven't done it yet, please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I am your host, Cedric Ben. I've been an amateur boxing coach for almost 20 years now. I'm an assistant coach with Team Canada. I've had success with men's and women's at the amateur level. I got my first pro boxer, Hunter Lee, undefeated, signed with Crunk right now, doing his thing. And yeah, it's the new gym here, 3880 Tecumseh Road East. Stop by anytime. All right, let's get right into it. Tank versus Lamont Roach. Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. Both fighters, well, here's the thing. Let me get to the scorecard right away, actually. Sorry, I apologize. Let me rewind that. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Let's introduce both fighters first. So the challenger coming in, Lamont Roach, coming in with a record of 25 wins with only one defeat, with 10 knockouts. So more of a skilled boxer. Lamont the Reaper Roach is his nickname. Against Gervonta Tank Davis, who came in undefeated. Came into this fight undefeated with 30 wins with 28 knockouts. Guy has a 93 percentage knockout rating. And so coming into this one, people were expecting Tank to stop Roach in this around middle of the fight. Seventh or eighth round is what the most people were thinking. But most people surprised and went the distance. The final scorecards were 114, one judge had it, and then the other judge had it 115 to 113. That was the score that I had it, 115 to 113 for Lamont Roach. And here's the thing, this is the reason why I encourage people to score fights. I said this during the Lomachenko and Haney controversy. If you don't score the fights, this is what happens in a close fight. A boxing match is, including the break, is 36 minutes long, right? 36 minutes long. So if the first 6, 7 rounds are close, if the first 6 to 7, 8 rounds are close, which means it could have went either way. A close round means it could have went either way. So, and if you don't judge the fight, if you're just focused on, if one person pulls away for round like 9, 10, 11, and 12, if someone pulls away for those last 4 rounds, you're just going to automatically think that person won the fight. When it's hard to remember who won those closer rounds when it was almost a half an hour earlier. You can't remember the small details of what punch landed, what punch didn't land, who threw more, who might have threw less but landed more. It's hard to remember those small details a half an hour earlier if you didn't score the fight. So that's why I encourage people to do that. We'll go through my scorecard, go through my specific scorecard, and then we'll go through the, what each fighter to improve on and what's the next step for each fighter. So round 1, first of all, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I marked 6 rounds as close rounds. Again, a close round, the definition of a close round means it could have went either way. Just like a close fight, could have went either way. 6 rounds that I marked as close rounds, okay? So that's the reason. So I can understand how it came to a draw, or some people, like there's even a few people that had Tank winning. Not many, but a few people. So anyways, round 1, and my notes for round 1, I gave the first round to Tank. I marked the first round as a close round. The first 2 rounds as close rounds, actually. So round 1, marked it as a close round, gave it to Tank. My notes for round 1 was not much of a difference. Both was just kind of a feel-out round. So there wasn't that much of a difference in that first round. The second round, I also marked as a close round, and I gave it to Tank. And my notes was, Tank's timing is very good, especially as a shorter fighter. It takes a little extra skill to be a shorter fighter and be great at your timing. Taller people, again, just because you're taller with a longer reach doesn't automatically mean you have an advantage if you don't know how to use it. But if you are taller with a longer reach, you do know how to use it, that does give you an advantage, and it makes the shorter fighter have to work a little bit harder to land punches, to time you. Tank Davis is very good at that. He's shorter than 90% of the guys that he fights, and but he's still able to time them at some point in time. You know, he Tank getting outboxed here was not a surprise because he often gets outboxed in a lot of his matches. But at some point in time, he catches you on that chin, and like I said, 28 out of 30 boxers go down when he catches you on the chin. So that's kind of what I was expecting at some point in time. But Lamont Roach. Now here's the thing about Lamont Roach. Actually, sorry, I'm getting kind of carried away. Let me get through the scorecard first, and then we'll get to the details. Round 3, also gave it to Tank Davis. My notes for round 3. Oh yeah, my notes for round 3 is similar to round 2. It takes extra skill for that shorter fighter to land some specific punches on the taller. Well, Lamont Roach wasn't that much taller, but he knew how to use his distance. He was slightly taller and knew how to use that distance with his perfect timing, with his straight punches, and just mixing it up in general. Very good skill that Roach showed. Round 4 and 5, I gave to Lamont Roach. My notes for round 4. Tank looked like he was getting distracted, looking outside the ring, talking to the referee. I don't know. I couldn't hear what he was saying or why he was looking in the other direction, but it looked like he lost his focus in that 4th round, which helped Lamont Roach take over. Skills-wise, I'm not just saying Lamont Roach took over because Tank wasn't paying attention, but Lamont shows that his skill level is up there too. Round 5, I marked it as a close round. Round 5, I marked it as a close round. This is when they started talking trash to each other. But Roach was showing that he was not afraid. I mean, anybody could talk and say that you're not afraid, but your body language shows a different thing when you're in that ring with the other person. You know, there's a lot of boxers that say they're not afraid, but once you catch a few shots, you know, it changes your attitude real quick, changes that demeanor real quick. But Roach, he caught 1 or 2, nothing on the chin. You know, at the post-fight press conference, Roach said, they asked him about Tank's power, and he was like, yeah, it's all right. He got eye power. But I think that was a product of him. Tank wasn't able to catch him on the chin. Because I tell people all the time, like, when you're boxing, like, your accuracy, most people could take punches to the head, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see fights, people have a cut over their eye or a bleeding nose, and they can still continue. But this, it's hard to continue when you catch one of those or right down the middle. Anything along that jawline. Some come across that jawline, it's hard to come back from that or recover fast enough to keep fighting. All right, round 6. Round 6, I gave to Tank, and my notes for round 6 was this was the first clear round for any fighter. That was my notes. Clear, Tank landed cleaner. And yeah, that was my notes for round 6. Tank landed cleaner. Round 7, I marked as a close round. My notes for round 7 was and by the way, you know, you only have a couple seconds in between rounds to make your notes. So sometimes I can't even read my own writing because I'm scribbling so fast. They are trading, and Roach landed cleaner. That was for round 7, even though I marked it as a close round. Someone said, can you look into the camera I'm about? I just got that right now. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Anyways, round 8. Round 8, I gave to Lamont Roach. And my notes for round 8 was clear more. Oh, he landed cleaner and more punches. Fighting very smart, man. Lamont Roach, this guy, like, you can't be people that are saying that he wasn't a good fighter coming in here. You can't be an average fighter and do that to Tank Davis. Even if you don't think Tank Davis is not as skilled as people big him up to be, you can't just be an average fighter and outbox Tank like that. Lamont Roach was fighting extremely smart, and he showed it. As I've got the highlights on here. Round 9, this was the controversial round right here. Round 9, this guy, Tank, took a knee, which should have been called at least an 8 count. It was a voluntary knee, not a knockdown. There's a difference between a knockdown and an 8 count. Tank took a voluntary knee because he said he had something in his eye. He had something in his eye that was burnt, that was hurting him, and he wanted to get it cleaned out. Now, here's the thing. I believe him that he had. I believe him that he had something in his eye that he needed to get cleaned out. But unfortunately, there's no timeouts in boxing. Like what he did, you can't just take a knee and then go to your corner to get worked on, so you could feel better to fight again. If the round started, there's no timeouts. In other situations, like for example, if you're in the gym and you're sparring, in those settings, it's okay to say, "Hey, hold on one second, something's in my eye, real quick." It's acceptable in a gym environment when you're sparring and you're just working on stuff. But in a real fight, there's no timeouts. I keep repeating myself, but you can't just stop a fight to give yourself a break to help yourself. What he should have done, which would have been illegal even if he lied about it, was he should have said, I think there's something on his gloves because my eyes are burning. You got to check his gloves. That's what he could have said. Then the referee would have stopped it and then checked his gloves, and he would have had time to wipe whatever's off of his eyes. That's what he could have said. But anyways, that should have been ruled as a knock, caught myself. That should have been ruled as an 8 count. And if it was ruled as an 8 count, and Tank lost that round, then Lamont Roach would have won the fight on the scorecards. I did mention, sorry, I apologize if I didn't mention at the beginning. I mentioned the referees, the official scorecards of the judges. My official scorecard was 115-113 for Lamont Roach. Even without counting that 9th round as a knockdown or as an 8 count, I still had Lamont Roach winning 115-113. I just felt that he did better. Round 10, I gave to Lamont Roach. According to the numbers, he landed more. Tank still landed harder though. See, that's the thing about judging a fight. Do you go for the person? Do you score the round for the person that's just being more busier? Maybe they're not as hard or as effective, but the person just being busier, or the person that's might not be as throwing as much, but when they do throw, they're making it count, and you can clearly see that it's counting. So that's the tough things to score when you're in a close round. No smoke. Really odd what happened. It is. What else we got? Round number 11. Round number 11, I gave to the last 3 rounds, 10, 11, and 12, I gave to Lamont Roach. This is what I'm talking about. If you just think about this. Starting at round 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starting from round 7, I gave 5 of the last rounds to Lamont Roach, with 2 of them being close rounds. So that's, what I'm saying, that's why it was close like that. Anyways, round 12, I didn't have any votes for round 12, but I marked round 12 as a close round, again, which could have been either way, but I gave that round to Lamont Roach. So again, my final scorecard, 115-113 for Lamont Roach. Now, here's the thing. I really think it's disrespectful towards Lamont Roach to say that Tank Davis got exposed. The reason why I say that is because to say that someone got exposed means that like you're an A-level fighter and you lost to someone that shouldn't even be in the ring with you. And people are saying, well, all Roach did, all he did was stand up to Davis and not be afraid and come forward. Listen, man, you can't be a C-level fighter. For people that are trying to downplay Lamont Roach as not a good boxer, you can't be a C-level fighter and outbox Tank Davis just because you're not afraid. It doesn't just simply work like that. Just because you show heart and not be afraid, you can beat anybody. No. It doesn't work like that. Like what I honestly believe is that Lamont Roach is just one of those guys that slipped through the cracks, that nobody was really paying attention to, but is actually really good. Like, you think about it, 3,000 boxers in each weight class, like around the world, like almost 3,000 per weight class. So you can't pay attention to everyone. Every once in a while, there's someone that kind of slips through the cracks. And Lamont Roach is one of those guys. Obviously, he's a good boxer. Like I said, you can't just be an average C-level fighter and outbox Tank for 12 rounds. That doesn't just happen just because you got heart and showing that you're not afraid. So much respect to Lamont Roach. His options of who he fights could really open up now. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing I forgot to mention. Before the fight, I'm always, because I'm not in their training camps, I don't know if these guys are training hard or taking days off. That's why I'm always hesitant to bet money on fights. Like I have a gut feeling of what I think is gonna happen, but to actually put money on it, it's a different story. Because I don't know, like I said, I don't know if these guys are training hard or taking time off, or they had a perfect training camp, so they're good. So with that being said, with Lamont Roach, and I have receipts to confirm what I'm about to say. I knew that it was going to be a tough fight for Tank for a couple of reasons. Simply because they fought twice as amateurs, and both times Tank won both matches, but they were both close, very close matches. I think pretty sure they were like split decisions. So, when you fight somebody twice, and inside your head you beat them, amateurs just like the pros, no different. Sometimes there's controversial decisions, So they fought twice. Lamont has this confidence in himself to tell himself, like, listen, I was in there with him twice already. In my heart, I felt that I won both matches. And now this is years later. I'm a grown man. I've been training all this time, and now I'm much better, and I'm even more confident that I can beat Tank. So I think all those factors came into play as to how good Lamont Roach did against Tank Davis. So much respect to him. We'll see. They're definitely going to run it back. They are definitely going to run it back. 90% of people that watched that match believe that Roach won. But again, we got to score it still to get even more of a detailed description of that, right? To make it definitive about who you thought won. So where do both guys go from here after the rematch? Well, it depends who wins. It depends who wins. If Tank Davis wins the rematch, which I believe he will, moving on to more pay-per-views and more money, hopefully he starts fighting. Because I'm looking at the divisions right now. The top 10 guys in each of these divisions are monsters. You got Lomachenko, who we're not sure if he's gonna retire yet. He's 30. Lomachenko's 36 years old. But at the same time, Floyd was 36 years old when he schooled Canelo. So it's about how old you feel. You got Lomachenko. You got Keyshawn Davis. You got Shakur Stevenson. You got William Zepeda. You got Andy Cruz, Baranchek. Man, these guys, there's some killers in that top 10. In all of them, that was the top 10 of the Ring magazine. Top 5 in the WDO: Raymond Muataya, Sam Notes. Anyways, I'm not gonna go through all the weights. There's killers at the 135-pound division. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after the rematch. Shout out to the Canadian Lucas Body, who's working his way up the ranks. I think Lucas, the Canadian from Niagara Falls, fighting this Friday or Saturday, I believe, in Niagara Falls. He had the knockout of the year last year, working his way up the top 10 ranks. So much respect to Lucas Body. Much respect to his coach, Steve Bailey. Known him for a couple of years now. Much respect to him doing his thing on the amateur and pro scene. And there you have it. On local news, my boy Hunter out in Puerto Rico right now, training with Jake Paul's team, getting ready for his second pro fight. My two boxers still on Team Canada, Kioma and Marie. They just won a gold medal at an international competition in Dominican Republic. I forget the exact name of the competition, but they both won gold. I'll be doing a little podcast on them soon too, on the report. So, All right, man, there you have it. Again, if you haven't done it yet, like the video and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend. Cedric Sports here. I'll be back soon with another scorecard. All right, peace.